You think he's just being nice, right? Just friendly. But what if the guy you've been trying to figure out has actually been dropping hints all along, only you've been too busy doubting yourself to notice? Because here's the truth. Most men don't say everything they feel. They show it quietly, hoping you'll pick up on the signs. And when you finally learn how to read those signs, everything changes. Think about this. When a man truly likes someone, he won't always confess it directly. Instead, he'll do things that speak louder than words. He'll ask about your day and actually listen. He'll remember something small you mentioned weeks ago. He'll find reasons to be around you even when there's no real reason to be. His tone softens, his attention sharpens, and suddenly he's more present when you talk. These little actions are not random. They're his quiet way of saying, "You matter to me." The question is, are you seeing it or are you letting it slip by unnoticed? If this is already making you realize how often you overlook real interest, stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to spot those signals and never misread genuine effort again. And if you've ever felt confused by mixed messages, this will bring total clarity. You know what's interesting? Most men don't actually struggle with liking someone. They struggle with what happens after they realize they do. The moment a man feels drawn to you, something in him hesitates. He starts wondering, what if I misread the situation? What if she doesn't like me back? And instead of making a bold move, he begins to communicate in subtle ways through glances, tone, timing, and small efforts that seem ordinary but are loaded with meaning. He'll test the waters first. Maybe he compliments something about you, but it's casual enough that he can laugh it off if you don't respond warmly. Maybe he starts showing up where you are, the coffee shop, the group chat, the hallway at work. Not because he planned it that way, but because being near you gives him a reason to feel something familiar and safe. Most of the time, these little gestures aren't accidents. They're quiet attempts at connection that allow him to stay close without risking too much of his pride. What many people don't realize is that a man's hesitation isn't always about disinterest. It's often about protection of his ego, his emotions, his sense of control. Society has taught men to act confident even when they're unsure. So instead of saying, "I really like you," they'll act in small, consistent ways that say it for them. They might hold longer eye contact than usual, remember your favorite drink, or text you something thoughtful out of the blue. Those are emotional breadcrumbs, small signals dropped along the path, waiting for you to notice. And here's where things often go wrong. When a woman assumes that if he liked her, he'd just say it, she misses what's really happening beneath the surface. Directness isn't easy for everyone, especially when feelings are involved. So while he's building up the courage to express it clearly, he's hoping you'll give him a sign that it's safe. A smile, a warm tone, an invitation to keep talking. Those little green lights are what help him move from quiet interest to confident pursuit. So next time you sense something different in how he looks at you or how his energy shifts when you enter a room, don't dismiss it. Pay attention. Sometimes the loudest signals are the ones unspoken. The pauses, the nervous laugh, the way he lingers just a moment longer before leaving. They're not random. They're the gentle, unspoken language of a man trying to say, "I like you," without the fear of being turned away. Have you ever met someone who doesn't say much, yet somehow you feel their interest in every small thing they do? That's the beauty of subtlety. It speaks volumes when words fall short. Most people think attraction is declared through grand gestures or bold confessions, but the truth is, genuine interest often hides in the quiet moments, in the in-between spaces of conversation and attention. A man who's drawn to you might not tell you directly, "I like you," but you'll see it in how his behavior changes around you. Maybe he straightens his posture when you enter the room or listens more carefully when you talk. Maybe he remembers small details, like how you take your coffee or the song you mentioned once in passing, and brings it up later, casually, as if it was nothing. Those actions are not coincidences, they're clues. He's not just being polite, he's showing awareness. When someone genuinely cares, their attention becomes sharper, more focused. They notice things other people overlook. The small efforts, the door he holds open, the message he sends just to check if you got home safely, the way he includes you in group conversations, all come from the same place, emotional curiosity. He wants to be near you, to make your day slightly easier, to earn a place in your comfort zone. But because he's careful not to come across as pushy or overly confident, he wraps those feelings in everyday gestures. That's why the signs are so easy to miss. What makes these subtle actions powerful is that they're not done for attention. They're done out of genuine care. When someone's words are guarded, their consistency becomes their truth. Pay attention to patterns. Who shows up, who checks in, who makes time even when life is busy. Words can be rehearsed, but effort cannot. And sometimes the most meaningful gestures are the ones that seem almost invisible. The way he slows down his pace so you can walk together. The small nod he gives when you speak, showing that he's truly listening. The moments when he lets silence stretch comfortably instead of rushing to fill it. These are emotional signals, quiet but deeply human. So when someone's actions seem gentle yet deliberate, take a closer look. Subtlety isn't confusion, it's courage wrapped in restraint. People who care deeply don't always speak loudly. They show it in the details, one small moment at a time. Sometimes attraction isn't in what's said, but in what's felt between words. Before anyone admits their feelings, their body often reveals the truth first. The way someone stands near you, leans in when you talk, or matches your movements without realizing it. These small, unconscious actions can say more than 100 spoken sentences. When a man is interested, his body language becomes naturally attuned to yours. He positions himself where he can see you clearly. He leans closer when you speak, not to invade space, but to stay connected to your energy. It's not something he plans, it's an instinct that draws him in. Pay attention to how often he finds himself nearby, even when there's no real reason. Maybe he always ends up sitting beside you in a group setting or stands a little closer during a conversation. That's proximity. His quiet way of saying, "I feel comfortable here." People don't stay close to those they're indifferent about. This physical closeness isn't about boldness. It's about connection, a silent pull that keeps him present. Then there's mirroring, one of the strongest nonverbal indicators of emotional alignment. You cross your arms and moments later he does the same. You smile and he mirrors that expression instantly. These small reflections aren't mimicry, they're signs that his subconscious is syncing with yours. Psychologically, mirroring is the body's way of saying we're in tune. It happens when someone feels safe, connected, and emotionally invested. And of course, there's eye contact, the most powerful form of silent communication. When he holds your gaze longer than necessary, it's not just politeness, it's interest. Eye contact creates a moment of emotional vulnerability, a space where both people silently acknowledge that something deeper might be happening. If his eyes soften when you talk, or if he looks at you while smiling, those moments reveal warmth and presence. A person who's detached will often avoid eye contact, but someone curious about you will use it as a bridge. What's fascinating is that body language doesn't lie. While words can be filtered or cautious, the body moves from instinct. If you notice consistency, that his gestures, attention, and energy remain warm and open across different moments, that's your answer. Genuine curiosity shows up not in big confessions, but in how he orients himself toward you, quietly saying through his actions, "You have my attention." When someone genuinely cares, their attention becomes selective. They don't just hear your words, they listen. And that's how you can tell when a man's interest runs deeper than surface level charm. He remembers the name of your pet, the project you said stressed you out last week, or how you take your coffee without needing to ask again. These are small things, but in reality, they reveal something powerful, that he's emotionally invested enough to notice you. Think about it. Most people move through conversations like they're scrolling. They nod, respond, and move on. But when a person truly values what you share, they store it, not because they're trying to impress you, but because it mattered to you. Maybe you mentioned how you hate rainy days, and next time he brings it up with a playful comment, or perhaps you once mentioned a song that reminds you of your childhood, and later he sends it to you out of nowhere. Those gestures aren't random. They come from someone who's been paying attention when you weren't even aware. This level of attentiveness creates emotional intimacy long before any romantic words are spoken. It builds a quiet trust. that you can express yourself and actually be seen. When someone remembers your details, it's a reflection of how safe they feel with you and how safe they want you to feel with them. It's their way of saying, I value your presence enough to hold on to it. What makes this so special is how rare it is. In a world full of distractions, remembering the small things is almost an act of care. It's not grand gestures that make someone stand out. It's their ability to keep track of what touches your world. These are the people who create comfort without trying too hard. They make you feel known. But it's also important to observe consistency. Genuine interest isn't about one-time compliments or scattered gestures. It's the pattern that matters, the way he continues to engage, follow up, and connect dots from past conversations. Over time, you start noticing that he doesn't just hear your stories, he builds on them. He treats your details as threads that connect moments, weaving a deeper bond through attention. So, if he remembers your small preferences, past worries, or casual remarks, that's not coincidence. That's effort. And effort is the purest form of interest, the kind that doesn't need to be declared, only demonstrated. When someone's interested but unsure how you feel, they rarely come out and ask, "Are you seeing someone?" Instead, they weave curiosity into casual conversation. It's not about being sneaky, it's about testing the waters without risking rejection. You might notice him bringing up dating in a light or playful way. Maybe he jokes about relationships, asks what kind of people you usually get along with, or comments on how some guys must be chasing you. These small remarks aren't random, they're signals meant to gather information while keeping things comfortable. A man who's emotionally aware knows direct questions can change the dynamic too soon. So he looks for clues instead. He listens when you mention plans or when you talk about friends, quietly piecing things together. If you mention someone's name often, he may pay attention to your tone or expressions. If you say you spent a weekend alone or with family, you might notice a subtle change in his energy, like relief he didn't expect to feel. These moments reveal more than he'll ever admit. Sometimes it's not even in words. He may hesitate when others flirt with you or become more attentive in group settings, as if silently asserting his place without crossing a line. That protective yet reserved energy comes from someone who wants to know where he stands, but doesn't want to seem pushy. It's a dance of curiosity and caution. You'll also notice he compares perspectives in subtle ways, like asking what you think about dating apps, long-distance relationships, or people who move too fast. He's not looking for abstract opinions. He's listening for your emotional availability. It's his way of understanding whether there's space for him in your world. The most telling sign, though, is consistency. A man who's simply friendly won't keep circling back to these topics, but someone who's quietly interested will find small openings to revisit them. It's like he's building a quiet bridge, one conversation at a time, waiting for you to cross halfway. When you notice these hints, the best approach is to meet curiosity with warmth. You don't have to spell everything out. A genuine smile, a bit of playfulness or openness in your tone communicates plenty. Because when someone's giving subtle hints, they're not asking for certainty. They're hoping for encouragement, and that little bit of reassurance might be all they need to finally take a step forward. When someone likes you but isn't ready to be too obvious, they often disguise their interest behind casual excuses. It's never, "I just wanted to talk to you." Instead, it sounds like, "Hey, do you remember what time that event starts?" Or, "I wanted to ask your opinion on something." These messages or conversations might seem small, but they carry something deeper, a quiet desire to stay connected. The real motive isn't the question, it's the connection that follows it. You'll notice he doesn't just reach out once and disappear. He keeps the rhythm steady, sending a text to share something funny, commenting on something you posted, or mentioning a random thought that reminded him of you. These moments create a thread, a way to keep the dialogue alive without forcing it. Every message, no matter how casual, is another quiet attempt to stay within your orbit. What's interesting is how effortless it appears. He'll make it seem like pure coincidence, like he just happened to think of you at the right moment. But if you look closely, you'll see timing and intention behind it. He chooses moments when he knows you'll respond, when the flow feels easy, when the space between messages never quite grows cold. It's that consistency that reveals his true motive. Even in person, you might notice he finds reasons to start conversations, asking for help with something small or sharing a story just to make you laugh. These interactions aren't random, they're comfort-building exercises. He's testing how it feels to be around you, how naturally your energy blends with his. Because for someone genuinely interested, comfort is everything. If the conversation flows easily, it gives him the courage to deepen it next time. It's also worth noticing the tone of his approach. There's warmth, light humor, maybe a hint of curiosity, but never pressure. He's not pushing for constant attention. He's maintaining connection in ways that feel balanced and real. That's how genuine interest often looks. Subtle, but consistent enough to feel intentional. Over time, these small interactions start to form a pattern. It's never grand gestures or overly romantic words. It's reliability. He shows up in small ways that make it clear you cross his mind often. And while he may pretend the reason was just to ask something minor, the truth is simpler. He just wanted a moment with you. That quiet persistence, wrapped in casualness, is one of the clearest signs of hidden affection. When someone truly likes you, their instinct to protect doesn't come from dominance. It comes from care. It's not about taking charge of your life. It's about wanting to make sure you're okay. This kind of protection is subtle. It shows up in small, thoughtful ways, like checking if you got home safely, walking you to your car without making a big deal, or noticing when you seem uncomfortable and subtly trying to ease the moment. These actions may look casual, but they carry emotional weight. They reveal that he's paying attention not just to what you say, but to how you feel. What makes this kind of protectiveness different is its quietness. He's not trying to prove something or appear heroic. Instead, his care feels natural, like second nature. If you're having a tough day, he listens a little more closely. If someone interrupts or talks over you, he finds a way to bring the focus back to you. It's in these micro moments that you see his genuine concern. He's not competing for attention. He's offering safety without making you feel dependent. You'll often notice that he picks up on your moods even before you explain them. If your energy drops or your tone changes, he becomes more attentive. Maybe he lightens the moment with humor or offers reassurance without needing an explanation. These instincts don't come from guessing, they come from emotional investment. When a person truly cares, they tune in to your signals naturally. It's also interesting how this protectiveness extends to how others treat you. If someone speaks dismissively or crosses a line, he doesn't create drama but quietly steps in to shift the tone. His presence alone starts to feel like a buffer, calm, steady, dependable. He's not there to save you, he just wants you to feel supported, and that distinction makes all the difference. Over time, these patterns create a sense of emotional safety. You begin to notice that you can relax around him, that you don't have to guard yourself so tightly. That's the real essence of this kind of care. Not control, but comfort. When someone's affection is genuine, their protectiveness doesn't limit your freedom. It enhances your sense of security. So, when a man quietly checks in, notices the small things, and looks out for you without making it obvious, don't overlook it. That's not coincidence, and it's not habit. It's genuine warmth expressed through presence. In a world full of loud gestures, that kind of silent care speaks the loudest. When you respond with awareness and warmth, something powerful happens. You create emotional safety. Many people don't realize how deeply men crave that feeling of being understood without judgment. When you respond instead of react, when you listen with your eyes as well as your words, it tells him he's safe to be himself. That safety is what allows him to open up, to express what he really feels without fear of being criticized or shut down. Awareness shows that you're tuned in to what's happening beneath the surface. His tone, his pauses, his energy, not just his words. And warmth is the soft invitation that tells him you're accepted here. Together, they form the foundation of connection. When a man senses that his emotions are being met with empathy instead of resistance, his confidence naturally begins to grow. He starts to feel more capable of expressing affection, initiating deeper conversations, and even showing vulnerability. That confidence doesn't come from flattery or validation. It comes from the experience of being seen and valued. When you bring that calm, receptive energy into your interactions, you shift the entire dynamic. Instead of chasing attention or approval, both of you start meeting in a space of genuine understanding. Over time, your awareness helps him feel emotionally guided rather than emotionally tested. Small gestures like remembering his efforts, acknowledging his thoughts, or simply responding with gentle curiosity make him feel appreciated. Warmth doesn't always have to be through words. It can be in the way you look at him when he talks, the way you listen without interrupting, or the tone you use when things get tense. These moments seem small but have an incredible impact on how deeply he feels connected. As his confidence builds, his communication becomes clearer and more open. The subtle hints he once dropped, the small attempts to show care or seek closeness, start transforming into honest expression. He no longer hides behind silence or uncertainty because he knows his emotions will be received, not rejected. That's when connection stops being a guessing game and becomes mutual. Ultimately, responding with awareness and warmth is not about doing more, it's about being present. It's the balance of emotional intelligence and kindness that turns casual interaction into real connection. When you embody that energy, you don't just inspire his confidence, you make him feel seen, respected, and drawn to you in ways words alone could never create.